Hey guys, today is not a new amp day, it's a bad amp day, cause my beloved Marshall YJM amp is broken. It happened while doing some sound tests with my Boss attenuator. Suddenly the sound became quieter and then disappeared. I immediately dialed the volume back to 0 and switched the amp off. I noticed that it smelled a little burnt. The status quo is as follows. When I turn the amp on, after a while only hiss is hearable. And the worst thing is, this even happens in standby mode, which is a very bad sign. I'm not specialized in repairing tube amps, but as a trained electronics technician, I can check if I can repair the amp by myself. But first, let me demonstrate the issue. When turning the amp on, the bias LEDs at the back begin blinking. And when they stop, the noise can be heard. Can you hear this? As you can see, the volumes are at 0 and the amp is in standby mode. So let's open the amp and check out what's going wrong. This does not look good. Here in this area some resistors are burned, so I have to remove the board and check the other side. The last screw. Now it should come out. Yeah, here it is. And the other side of the mainboard looks good so far. So here's the board, and if we take a closer look, here you can see some resistors are burned. That's really bad. And currently I don't have any schematics of the board, so it's almost impossible to fix it. On the board, a sticker with the word SEDI can be found. What does this mean? Is it a bad omen? Look at this. SEDI. Now I'm even more SEDI because the board is SEDI too. Anyways, things get worse. I've also found out that at least 2 preamp tubes are faulty because the resistance of one heater pin is infinite. Unfortunately, I don't have a tube tester, and replacing all tubes without repairing the board is a bit risky because the tubes can be damaged again. What I have to do next is looking for a wiring diagram and some spare parts. Unfortunately, this could take a while because the amp is a limited production run and only 1500 were produced. So, stay tuned. So here's the bad news. For the board I couldn't get any wiring diagram. But luckily I found a spare board on Reverb, and it's possibly the last spare board available on Earth. Because it wasn't listed properly, which is kind of great for me. Look at this. It looks very nice, and it does not have a Sadie sticker. It has a Julian sticker, which means it's possibly the test person of the board. So, not a bad omen. Because of the bad tubes, I've bought a complete set of new tubes. These JJ Gold ECC83S and a set of EL34 tubes from Tube Amp Doctor. Premium quality tubes. Very nice. Thanks a lot to all the guys who currently hoarded all tubes. So I paid much more than usual. Well done. And just in case the output transformer blows sometime in the future, I've also ordered this one. The heavy one. Just for the case, you know. Now it's time to assemble everything and see what happens next. It's always a good idea to make some pictures before removing the board, so you know which cable belongs to which pin. Okay. Almost done. Okay, first let's plug in the cabinet, then the mains power cord, and then turn the amp on. Auto bias LEDs are blinking. Not a bad sign. We have to wait a little. Uh-oh, still hiss in standby mode. That's not good. If I turn the standby off, let's plug in a input cable. Looks like the issue still remains. That's not what I've expected. So there's only one thing left to consider. Possibly there's another issue on the controller board. So let's remove the board now and see what happens next. The board is secured with this piece of metal here. Let's remove it. Okay, here it is. That's the controller board. And now let's find out if we can find a replacement for this board. So here's the bad news. There's no chance to get a replacement PCB. However, after calling an official Marshall service center, it turned out that a repair kit for the board is available, which could help to fix the issue. So I decided to give it a try, and here I have now the repair kit, including, that's the repair kit, including a description what to do. It's this one. First, second and third. The kit includes an 8-pin integrated circuit, a resistor, a capacitor and a diode. So it's not only a repair kit, it's also a modification if IC5 should fail. It's this one on the board. Okay, let the games begin. First I have to remove capacitor C4. That's the easy task. Done. Next I have to remove IC5. Here it is. Let's clean the board. The first step of the modification is done. A new capacitor and the resistor is installed. Now let's continue with the integrated circuit. That's the hairy task, because it's so tiny. Yep, looks good. And now the last step, the diode. Great! Wasn't that easy, but I think it's well done. To be honest, I'm a bit in doubt if the modification will fix the issue, because in the description here is written the symptoms of this failure can vary, but usually low or distorted volume and the gate threshold control acting as a gain control will indicate IC5 failure. So that's not quite the issue I have. Anyway, let's give it a try. So let's connect all cables and turn the beast on. Unfortunately, it looks like the issue still remains. So possibly I have to bring the amp to a repair center. So here's the good news. I finally found out what's going wrong. So let me demonstrate this now. To initiate auto biasing of the power amp tubes, I press the 50 watt button and the effects loop button while turning the amp on. The blinking LEDs indicate that auto biasing is running. As soon as the LEDs stop blinking, the noise comes up. As you can see, the buttons on the back do not work. After a while, the hiss stops and all buttons are usable. That's the moment when auto biasing is finished and the amp is ready for use. As you can see, the whole biasing process takes around 2.5 minutes. I think the modification of the controller board wasn't really necessary to fix the issue, so the $40 for the kit was a waste. But okay, I see it as an investment in the reliability of the amp. What annoys me much more is the fact that the behavior of the auto bias function is not properly documented. So keep in mind to wait at least 2.5 minutes until the process is completely finished. Anyway, now it's finally time to check out the sound. I'm pretty happy with the result. The amp sounds better than ever before and all works fine. I've also repaired the SADI board by replacing the burnt resistors, and it turned out that only 2 preamp tubes were bad. All other tubes work well. So now I have a spare mainboard and some spare tubes, just for the case. Finally, I have a serious warning. Even if I'm not specialized in repairing tube amps, I'm trained in repairing electrical stuff. Please don't do these things if you don't know how to do it properly, because it's very dangerous and life-threatening. So please take care. Thanks for watching and see you soon on this channel.